Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about loopers. I've been through a few of them. I've got a problem. Alright, so like I said, I'm talking about loopers today, and this journey started for me back in around 2017 when I finally picked up a looper to put on my board. And I started with the TC Electronic Ditto. Now the Ditto has become a bit of a classic in the looper world. It's so simple, so easy to use, that it was a really great kind of first step into looping for guitar players. Since then, gas gear acquisition syndrome has really run amok through my setup. I have had so many chops and changes of pedal boards, modelers and all that kind of stuff that I've used over the years. And I've been through several loopers in that process. So after that Ditto looper, I went through a bit of a crazy period where I sold all my pedals and my pedal board, and I bought a Line 6 Helix LT. And I used the looper on that for a while. Really quite a feature-packed looper, but you know, after a while, gas set in again, and I switched again back to pedals. And this time I bought the fancy new Boss RC10 loop pedal. The one with the 2-foot switches in the kind of 200 format Boss pedal. It had built-in rhythms, you could do like different song sections and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, that stuff's just too much for me. I was getting really confused when I was using it. It meant that I would ruin takes when I was making videos because I would mess up the loop all the time. Just a bit of a nightmare. So after that, again, I chopped and changed a bit, and I bought the new DL4 Mark II. Which again, really great looper in that, and I used that for a while until I decided to once again sell that along with some other pedals, and I bought the Line 6, so you can see a trend there, HX Stomp XL. Again, same sort of looper in that as the Helix LT. You can have it set up to do kind of a multi-button looper, much like the way you would use the DL4. And you could also set it up for a kind of single foot switch looper as well. Again, I went back to the RC10 at some point because I really liked the idea of that pedal, but again, just didn't get on with it. And then I thought, look, I really like the way these Boss loopers work. I just could do with something a little easier to use on the board, and I downsized to the RC5, the Boss RC5, with a FS7 foot switch to kind of do some of the additional control features like stop and start the loop, that kind of thing. So that is a slightly simpler looper to use, but again, I was just having problems with it. All of my own doing, nothing to do with the actual functionality of the pedal. So then I wanted to simplify it even more. And at the time I was in the market for a delay pedal as well. I wanted to get a digital delay pedal, one that had kind of reverse delays and shimmer delays, that kind of stuff. So I picked up the Boss DD-200. Now that pedal is awesome. I really like that pedal. It's still on my board now, and it has a looper function in it. I was using that for a while, and honestly it's a really good looper considering it's built into a delay pedal. It just had a couple of features missing that I really needed. One of the main problems for it for me was you just couldn't adjust the volume of the loop. So once you'd recorded your loop, it was playing back at the same volume as your guitar. So if you were trying to play over the top of it, you were getting kind of drowned out by the loop. On top of that, it had no undo redo feature, which if you've built up a really complex loop of multiple layers and you suddenly make a mistake, yeah, it could be annoying. But look, that's not to say that it's not a great feature to have on a delay pedal, you know. It's not designed to be the key feature. And I think anytime you get kind of bonus functionality like that in a pedal, you can't complain, right? So here I am back with a new looper, and I've picked up the TC Electronic Ditto Plus. I figured I really liked the Ditto. I really liked how easy it was to use. This one's adding a couple of new features. Surely I'll like that one. Well, you're going to have to stick around to the end of the video to find out if I'm keeping this one. But until then, let's get into some features and specs and then do some demos. Whoa. Before we get into the features and the demo, I'm trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Now, the channel is at nearly 500 already. In fact, it might have even passed the 500 mark by the time this video comes out. But whatever you can do to help me out here, I really appreciate it. So if you're not already subscribed, please click that button and subscribe. If you are, like the video, share it with your friends, all of that good stuff. Really appreciate it. Cheers. Right, let's rattle off some features and specs then. So this differs from the original Ditto because, you know, it's got a screen and it's got some built-in memory as well. So the screen is really great. It's going to show you the status of the loop. So when you're recording, when you play back, when you overdub, all that kind of stuff. Really helpful. It also gives you a little indicator of where you are in the loop as well. So we have 99 memory locations on the pedal, all really easily accessible from the buttons on the top of the pedal. With those memory locations, there's no need to write the loop that you've recorded to the memory. The way the looper works is once you've recorded your loop, it's automatically saved, and if you switch to a different patch and then switch back, it's still going to be there. You don't have to click to write or anything like that, which is one thing I found on some of the other pedals. I would always forget to write my loop, switch onto another patch, often by accident, and completely lose the loop I was working on. Your backing tracks can be loaded into those memory banks as well. Another great feature of the pedal is that the undo and redo status is kind of remembered between switching to different memory patches. So if you're on bank 1, you make a loop, say you undo the last bit of recording and then move to the next patch. When you go back to the previous patch, your undo and redo will still work. So it will remember that bit that you recorded but peel back with the undo, and you can put it back in again. This works it between, like I said, between memory changes, but also power cycles, which I thought was particularly good, right? Of course, anything you record and save into the loops can be exported via USB onto your computer. One of my favorite features of the pedal is extended loop mode. The way this works is you can kind of record an initial loop, say a bar, maybe you use your guitar to kind of play in a rhythm. You can do that for just one bar, and then when you go to record your overdub, you can extend that loop. You can keep it going as long as you want, and it will just kind of extend the recording. I'll do a bit of a demo of that because it's easier to show it than it is to explain it, really. I think I already mentioned this, but it's got 60 minutes of record time, which is more than enough, in my opinion, for any looper. Finally, it is 24-bit audio, which I think is a little bit lower than some of the competition from Boss, but to my ear, sounds perfectly fine. Seems to work well with recording into a DAW, and I haven't had any issues with layering multiple layers of audio with getting any kind of obvious degradation of the sound or anything like that. Alright, enough talking, let's get on with that demo. For the first part of this demo then, we're just going to do a normal loop. So we're going to record the full sequence that we want to play and then do some noodling over it, bring in stuff, take stuff out again, that kind of thing. For this next part of the demo, I'm going to show you how that extended loop mode works. So we're going to create a rhythm with the guitar, and then we're going to extend that when we build in the actual sequence that we play over it. Let's check it out. Finally then, I'm going to use a pre-recorded loop that's in the looper right now and do some kind of playing over it. So, verdict time. Will I be keeping the Ditto Plus? Well, before I answer that, let me tell you the things I don't like. Pretty minor, to be honest. I don't like that it's using, I think it's mini USB, which isn't even the kind of micro USB. TC have been holding on to these old USB standards for quite a long time. I think the Combo Deluxe up there, for example, mini USB. We should be seeing USB-C on this stuff by now, right? That's basically it, to be honest. There's nothing else I don't really like. I mean, maybe you could argue it could do with a few more features, but really it's a compact pedal. I think what they've managed to pack into such a tiny pedal is kind of amazing. So what do I like about the pedal then? Well, I really love that extended loop feature. The way you can kind of record in a really short, like 1-bar rhythm, so you don't kind of get timing drift throughout your loop, and then extend the loop to the length you want it to be for your sequence. I just think that's a really, really clever feature, and the way they've implemented it seems to work really well. I got to grips with it pretty quickly. I just think it's great, really helps me build out a loop. General ease of use as well. The fact that you don't have to write to save your loops. Just, oh, I can't tell you how many times I lost a loop because I twisted what I was thinking was a volume knob, but was actually a patch change knob. With this, you've got the one volume knob on the top to set your level of your loop, and then you've got the two back and forward controls to switch between your memories. And yeah, there's a few settings hidden behind like a long press of those buttons, but for the most part, you don't need to worry about that if you're just using it like a normal looper. You know, just to round it off again, it's just so easy to use this thing. I can't see me using any other looper anytime soon, unless of course they bring out, you know, a stereo one, maybe with an extra foot switch, but the same functionality. Well guys, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And again, if you're not already subscribed, do consider it. I'm trying to get the channel to 1,000 before the end of the year. Anything you can do will help. Cheers. If you want to check out any of my other videos, I'll link a couple over here. At the top we've got the Vinterra 50 Strat from Fender, and underneath it, its friend, a limited edition version of the 70s Vinterra. Alright guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.